Hi, I'm Pan, and this is my partner, Teller. You may have heard vaccination causes autism in 1 out of 110 children. Fuck that. Total bullshit. It doesn't. But let's imagine it does. We'll compare 2 groups of children. Teller's group gets no vaccinations. My group does. I'll use this plexiglass to represent the vaccinations. Oh, that's bad. My vaccination wall knocked 1 of the children out of line. That's our 1 in 110 with autism. In the 1920s, before the diphtheria vaccination was common, there were 13 to 15,000 deaths a year from that disease. If you got it, your chances of dying were about 40%. In 1952, just before the Salk vaccine became common, there were about 58,000 cases of polio. If you get unlucky, you might end up permanently disabled or dead. Meningitis, hepatitis A and B, flu, mumps, whooping cough, pneumonia, rotavirus, rubella, smallpox, tetanus, chickenpox. Chickenpox. We have vaccinations against all of them. Which side do you want your child to stand on? So even if vaccination did cause autism, which it fucking doesn't, anti-vaccination would still be bullshit. Vaccinations. Kids love them, and why not? Over the past 70 years, vaccines have nearly wiped smallpox, polio, measles, and diphtheria off the face of the planet, saving countless lives in the process. But today, thanks in part to a shockingly fucked up, absolutely wrong, possibly criminal study falsely linking vaccines to a skyrocketing rate of autism, high-profile celebrities are joining legions of concerned parents in a rapidly growing anti-vaccination movement.
I do think they're possibly dangerous.
I believe that vaccines do cause autism.
Right now, my plans are to never vaccinate my child.
Is there really something to worry about? Today we're going to find out, or at least we're going to give it a shot, with the help of this pediatrician with sexy animal-on-animal action wallpaper.
We're showing no respect to the families of kids with autism.
Welcome home, beloved of God. Welcome to a place where sin and Satan cannot enter. Welcome to a place where death cannot come. Welcome to a place where loneliness is never felt. Welcome to
Mondo Diablo. Hello again, fellow listeners, to another Mondo Diablo. This week, Penn and Teller are being honored by the Mondo Diablo program. This time all about anti-vaxxers. We've got some grave news out there. We're seeing diseases in children that we haven't seen sometimes in over 50 years, like polio. I know that a lot of you guys out there are parents and younger than me, so you're usually pretty removed from seeing firsthand or even just hearing firsthand accounts of these diseases. My parents and grandparents, people I knew, loved, and talked to, know all about losing brothers, sisters, and children to diseases that are fully preventable and treatable today. And that's why I think that your peers and younger friends are opting out. Not only are they accepting hot new pseudoscience trends as fact, but they know and can rely on their pediatricians and hospitals to help cure their kids if they get these diseases. But they are totally ignoring the fact that not only are they holding a wholly separate individual's life hostage, they're screwing with poor people, yet again. As long as we are okay, we don't give a shit about poor people. It's always the fucking same.
Es war ein kleines Birdie, a singen in der Town. Ich hast das kleines Birdie, oh, kannst du keep it down? Zu schlafen, here I'm trying, kannst du please keep it down? He answered mit ein Folksong, das ich had never heard. He sang, du bist ein Dummkopf, and also such a nerd. He sang, du bist ein Loser, und he flipped me, der Bird. He sang, du bist ein Loser, then he flipped me, der Bird. Ich liebe now das Birdie, es besser ist by far. He came last night for dinner, und very nice es war. Ja, ich had him last night for dinner, und he tasted wunderbar.
This woman who claims vaccines are poison,
The only safe vaccine is one that's not given.
the father of an autistic child,
It really does turn your life upside down to have a child diagnosed with autism.
and this anti-vaccination fanatic who has some creative ideas on how to look at this issue.
You gotta look at the big picture and then break it down to the small picture, or vice versa. You can go small and then go big, but there's got to be the big. You got to come full circle with this.
Vaccination is supported by scientists, doctors, and health officials. It's opposed mostly by self-righteous celebrities, Playboy models, grieving parents, and whack jobs. Science has done its best to win the fight with serious studies and real data and, saving lives. But somehow the whack job side is getting some traction. So we think to level the playing field, it's time for the pro-vaccination side to bring in some C-level, self-righteous, celebrity talking head nut jobs. And we're just the C-level, self-righteous, celebrity talking head nut jobs to do it. Fuck yeah! This whole vaccination controversy got started back in 1998 when The Lancet, a prestigious British medical journal, published what turned out to be a shockingly fucked up, absolutely wrong, possibly criminal study falsely suggesting a possible link between the measles vaccine and autism. Almost overnight, England's vaccination rates dropped by double digits. The panic quickly spread to the US, and the anti-vaccination movement took off.
I started practicing pediatrics in 1979, and I didn't see kids with autism. My name is Dr. Jay Gordon. I've been a pediatrician in private practice for 30 years. Any of my colleagues who've been practicing for 20, 25, 30 years will tell you exactly the same thing. There's been a big change. There's much, much more autism.
Wow, that's scary. In fact, according to the CDC, since 1980, the rate of autism among children has skyrocketed from 1 in 10,000 children to 1 in 110. To help us understand this issue, we need to meet someone with personal experience.
My name is Ken Rybell, and I'm a freelance business writer.
Ken's on his way to pick up his son Christopher from school. He knows firsthand what it's like to raise a child with autism. Christopher was diagnosed when he was 3.
Early on, he was fascinated by different shapes. You know, he would point at a shape and say parallelogram, you know, rhombus. And we thought, wow, we've got a little genius on our hands.
But then a daycare worker familiar with autism suggested there might be a problem. And there was. Tests showed Chris was autistic.
Suddenly, this just comes out of the blue, and we didn't understand it. I mean, it made no sense, you know. So yeah, you go through a period, I think, of shock at first.
So Ken, as a parent, do you believe there's a link between vaccines and autism?
The preponderance of the evidence shows no.
When Wendy's son Chase was a baby, he suffered serious health problems that she firmly believes were caused by vaccinations.
You can't poison yourself into health. You can't. And that's what these are.
Vaccines? Poison? That's a pretty strong statement. But in one sense, it's true. Most vaccines are made from weakened versions of the disease they're designed to protect you from. You get an injection, your body reacts as if you have the disease, and creates the antibodies that kill the virus. So now your body's ready if you catch the full-blown disease. Wendy makes many inaccurate claims like this on her website. Claims that have influenced thousands of people to avoid vaccines. Like this guy.
My name is Carl Buzz, and I'm a husband and a father of just an average American family. Before 1945, or whenever, I'm not sure about the date, don't quote me, vaccines started, we didn't have cancer. Now you got cancer in dogs.
Well, you know what we heard, Carl? Don't quote us, but since 1999, some vaccines make people fly under their own power. I think we still have cancer in dogs, though. Now, Wendy, you say you have evidence to back up your claims?
This is a page right from the CDC.
Fuck! Their manual must be huge!
Many of you already know this exercise, the fire hydrant. Now, drop your hands and knees, lift the right leg so that it's parallel to the floor. Keep your lifted leg bent. Place the leg back next to the left leg. Raise it again, and back down. Up, and down. Up, down, up, down. Let's do 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're looking good. Okay, reverse to the right side and try double time. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another set of 8. Again. One more. Okay, reverse. right leg. One more time with your left leg. Prepare for leg swings. Stretch your right leg back as high and as straight as it will stretch. Now, swing it forward, swing it back, forward, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat. Reverse, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat. Reverse to the right leg and try double time. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Reverse.
These are the ingredients that are actually in vaccines. Aluminum hydroxide, brilliant green dye, DNA, egg protein, calf skin, chick embryo, mouse brain, formaldehyde.
Wait a minute, back up. Did she say mouse brain?
Mouse brain.
Excellent.
Formaldehyde. These ingredients don't belong in a vaccine. They belong in a satanic ritual.
Fuck her! We got that same page, and ours is much bigger. We're gonna put up these giant post-it notes on all the points where Wendy is fucking up. Formaldehyde. Ugh. But it stops the virus from reproducing and making you really sick. Get that up there where it belongs. Aluminum hydroxide and mouse brain. Eek! Mouse brain. They stimulate antibody levels. Oh, and you're worried about aluminum? It's the most common metal found in nature, and you can literally swallow 1,000 times more in a single antacid tablet. Fucking scissors lift doesn't go high enough. Bring in the fire truck. Bring it in. Bring in the fire truck. So, Wendy, which ingredient bothers you most of all?
Well, I think the mercury is probably the most dangerous.
Yes, many childhood vaccines used to contain mercury in the form of a preservative called thimerosal. In 1999, it was taken out of most vaccines as a precautionary measure. I guess somebody forgot to tell Wendy. By the way, if mercury were causing autism, you'd expect autism rates to drop after they took it out of vaccines. But they haven't. Oops.
As a physician, as a scientist, as a researcher, and as a parent, I can tell you that vaccines do not cause autism.
Hi, I'm Max Wisnitzer. I'm a child neurologist at Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio.
Dr. Wisnitzer specializes in children with autism and sees over 200 children a month in his clinical practice. At the request of the Department of Health and Human Services, he investigated claims of a vaccine autism connection and concluded there was no credible evidence of any link. His take on that mercury claim?
The most you might find some trace mercury from the manufacturing process. Eating a tuna fish sandwich puts you at greater risk for exposure to mercury.
see you all and say, I need today, I'm on my way. I'm going back to sunny Dixieland. That's why I came to take you by the hand. The minute when I cross that Dixie line, no more I'll find. Won't that be fine? Mr. Captain, don't fail me. Just hurry and sail me to that gal of mine. Floating down, my honey, floating down. Floating on the river down to Cotton Town. Just hear that wind blow, losing away. And those doggies singing, spangled sing to the break of day. Honeyland, my little honeyland, I'll come back to you and Alabama. While Jesus sugar cane seems to welcome me again, floating down to Cotton Town. Just see those southern roses on the shore. There's just one more I'm longing for. The pattern blossoms in the moonlight glare remind me of my mammy snow white hair. Just hear that music neath the southern moon, while donkeys croon a Dixie tune. Mr. Captain, you hurry, but don't keep me worried. Land me there right soon. Floating down, my honey, floating down. Floating on the river down to Southern Town. Just hear that red bell losing away, and those doggies singing, spangled ring to the break of day. Honeyland, my little honeyland, I'll come back to you in Alabama. I saw the field of my heart, and waited long for the turn. I saw my hero Melanie standing by the cabin door. While Jesus with a cane seemed to welcome me again, floating down to Cotton Town.
Fuck them asshole fish. The average tuna fish sandwich contains 28 micrograms of mercury, 9 times the typical infant gets from all of his vaccinations combined. That info is courtesy of the Centers for Disease Control. If Wendy had room to print out a second giant page, she might have seen that. Ah, there's that doctor from the top of the show. Dr. Gordon, do you agree vaccines are safe?
Children should not be vaccinated. This is very much at odds with the mainstream medical point of view, which says that there's no connection between vaccines and autism. I think that that is a flat-out lie.
Well, we can't all be Jonas Salk.
I have seen children face-to-face who were developing normally until they got shots. At least a few times it happened in my office, where very shortly after they received a vaccine, they developed symptoms of autism and then became autistic.
If two things occur, one after the other, it doesn't mean one caused the other. There is the natural tendency in humans that if something happens to an individual, you always look at what immediately preceded it to try to say, does this explain why it happened?
If two things occur one after the other, it doesn't mean one caused the other. There's a natural tendency in humans that if something happens, you always look at what immediately preceded it to explain why it happened. Correlation is not causation. Meanwhile, back of the Rybell household, the family is sitting down for dinner.
Ready?
What do you say?
Monsters versus aliens. Monsters versus aliens.
If it's not vaccines, what is responsible for autism suddenly affecting 1 in 110 children? I mean, there is an epidemic of autism, isn't there?
When people look at the rise in autism, what they're really looking at is a rise in diagnoses. Autism's always been with us. It's just it was either called something else, childhood schizophrenia, for instance. It could have been called childhood psychosis. In the case of something like Asperger's, which is your higher functioning forms, it could just be the weird kid in class.
Before 1994, to be diagnosed as autistic, a child had to have a low IQ and be deeply withdrawn and nonverbal.
still demons today?
If demons are real, then where do they stay?
Yes, demons are spirits. They're bad and they're mean. They live inside people, but they can't be seen.
But don't be afraid, dear. When we speak Jesus' name, demons will leave just as fast as they came.
I'm a pig, as you can see. I'm as country as can be. I praise the Lord, today I am alive. For I heard there were some swine, they were relatives of mine. Such a lovely pigs, but they did not survive. The way it all began was with a demonic man. He screamed aloud from morning until night. When anyone passed by, they could hear his fearful cry. I know it must have been an awful sight. We praise you, Lord. We praise you, Jesus. Thank you for your power that frees us. When we call your name, you hear us. For you are near us. We praise you, Lord. Now this man screamed around, often fallen on the ground. Saw Jesus come and he began to shout. Jesus took it all in stride. He knew demons were inside this man and called the demons to come out. The demons must obey, but they begged him anyway to go into the pigs who were nearby. As the dirty demons went, you could hear the man repent. I'm glad there are no demons in my sty. We praise you, Lord. We praise you, Jesus. Thank you for your power that frees us. When we call your name, you hear us. For you are near us. We praise you, Lord. Praise you, Lord.
But then researchers adopted the much broader definition, autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, and suddenly many children could technically be classified as autistic. We changed the definition to include more children, and now we act surprised that more children are included. Oops.
If you look at other possible reasons why the numbers may be rising, it also includes the fact that because we have increased awareness, we're identifying individuals at a younger age. So you have to basically factor all these things into place before you can actually say whether there's a true rise in the incidence, which is the number of new cases per year.
Let's go back to bug nutty crazy world and assume you guys are right and vaccinations really are dangerous. Why then are doctors still recommending vaccines?
The backbone of the pharmaceutical company are vaccines. Because it's not just in America. Those same companies are shipping vaccines all over the world. We ship millions of vials of it to Africa. And look, AIDS is rampant in Africa.
And news! There are fucking news all over the plains of Africa. It's a plague of news. Fucking vaccines.
Vaccines traditionally have been sort of the weak sister in the drug industry. Arthur Allen, author, Vaccine, the controversial story of medicine's greatest lifesaver.
Sorry to interrupt your Cinco de Mayo party, but we need answers. And a little guacamole, por favor.
It's hard to make a lot of money on a vaccine, especially a pediatric vaccine, because the idea of pediatric vaccines is they're given once or twice or 3 times, and maybe a booster, so maybe 4 times, and that's it. Whereas if you're giving somebody an antidepressant or you're giving them, you know, a drug against cholesterol, they take it every day for 20 years. I mean, the difference is pretty clear.
Worldwide, revenues from vaccines make up a measly 2% of the overall pharmaceutical market. Get it? Measly? But the anti-vaccination crew does have one thing right. There is a profit motive driving this vaccination debate. But it's driving their side. Call it the autism miracle cure industry.
People offering anything from hyperbaric oxygen therapy, chelation, ionic foot massage, magnetic clay baths. I think somebody counted up over 200 alternative therapies for autism.
Not one of which has ever been proven to make even a dent in alleviating autism, despite the billions of dollars desperate parents have flushed down the toilet.
as you are. You're my Mr. Snuggles. Baby, oh, you feel so good to me. Please don't ever leave, 'cause I need you right beside me. Mr. Snuggles, I love you. Oh, Mr. Snuggles, my Mr. Snuggles, I love you.
Attention, citizens! Attention, citizens! In the evaluation of all bullshit, it is comforting to remember Hanlon's razor. Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by stupidity. This sentiment is surfaced in all nations and all ages. My favorite is the classic English, cock up before conspiracy. Teller prefers Napoleon's version, voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Carry on, citizen. So the alternative therapies don't do dick, but we know why parents keep trying.
People who have children with autism, especially severe autism, have very difficult lives. And so here's somebody offering you the cause and what they claim is, treatment and a way out of it. And so it's a very attractive package for these people. And I can totally understand that.
Carl doesn't have an autistic child, but he's convinced that vaccines are part of a global medical conspiracy to keep us sick.
Follow the money. Follow the money. Because that's what motivates these people. I believe that doctors don't become doctors to heal people. I think they become doctors to make money. I don't care what they say. That's the way I feel about it.
So doctors are keeping us sick on purpose? How can they pull that off without us finding out?
There's a lot going on, and we're being distracted. Football, basketball, American Music Awards.
We knew the American Music Awards were a pharmaceutical plot. My face goes numb when I watch it.
You name it, everything's a distraction to the truth.
Careful, Carl! Your doctor might get so pissed at you spilling the truth that he gives you that shot that turns you gay. Where the hell are you people getting your information?
Thank God for the internet.
Thank God for the internet.
People say, oh, you got that on the internet. That must be conspiracy stuff. No, it's just knowledge.
Anyone can claim anything on the internet. This would not have happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, where you'd have to go to the library and do your research.
Even our friend Ken Rybel got sucked in. The day his son was diagnosed with autism, he jumped on the web, saw sites like Wendy's, and immediately suspected vaccines had caused his son's condition.
Mademoiselle, oh, dites-moi donc si c'est du coton ou ben de la flanelle. Mademoiselle, oh, dites-moi donc si c'est du coton qui est à votre jupon.
Et vous, monsieur, mais dites-moi donc si c'est des cordons au biais des bretelles. Et vous, monsieur, mais dites-moi donc si c'est des cordons qui tiennent vos pantalons. Et vous, monsieur, mais dites-moi donc, venez-vous de Sorel ou bien de Saint-Adèle? Et vous, monsieur, mais dites-moi donc, venez-vous des chantiers ou bien des concessions?
Mademoiselle, regardez-vous donc, avec votre nez long, vos yeux à la coque. Mademoiselle, regardez-vous donc, vous avez l'air d'un petit qui est né dans un cruchon.
Et vous, monsieur, mais dites-moi donc, vous avez le visage comme un vrai citron. Et vous, monsieur, gardez-vous donc, je vous dis, vous avez de l'air d'un vrai chausson.
I printed everything out and I went down to see my general practitioner. I said, okay, what's going on here? Can you explain this? And he did. He took the time to explain it to me and why this was nonsense. And I just never looked back.
I mean, there's a reason why there are specialists in medicine and in science who, you know, who we trust. I generally trust people who don't have an axe to grind, but who are steeped in knowledge about a subject.
People like Wendy.
Herpes, you thought you got that from kissing? No, it's compliments of your polio vaccine.
The anti-vaccine side, they like to, I say they like to cloak themselves in the respectability of science, you know, but without really subjecting themselves to the harsh questioning that the scientists get.
What I'm concerned about is that they're closed-minded. They refuse to look at the facts as they're generated or to look at the weaknesses of the studies that they quote because they've already fixed in their mind already what they perceive to be the truth and then go out to look for the documentation to support it. That's not the scientific method.
It was shocking disregard for that scientific method that allowed The Lancet to publish the 1998 study that started this whole controversy in the first place. And in early 2010, The Lancet was forced to retract that study after a British medical panel found its main author, Dr. Andrew Wakefield, guilty of gross misconduct. It turns out that Wakefield was being paid by a law firm that was looking to sue the manufacturer of the measles vaccine. And because of that, claim results that he didn't actually get. Along the way, Wakefield performed unnecessary and invasive tests on children without proper approval. He even joked about paying children money to take blood tests at a birthday party.
When we did this at that party, 2 children fainted, one threw up over his mother.
And people have stopped vaccinating their children because of this asshole shockingly fucked up, absolutely wrong, possibly criminal study. The editor of The Lancet said it was utterly clear, without any ambiguity at all, that the statements of the paper were utterly false. I feel I was deceived. The evidence that started the whole vaccines and autism thing is absolutely, no fucking question, false. End of discussion, right? No!
in the middle of a dream. I was kissing Valentino by crystal blue Italian stream. But I can't be late, 'cause then I guess I just won't get paid. These are the days when you wish your bed was already made. It's another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day. And I don't have to run day. It's just another manic Monday. Have to catch another train, got to move Friday night. And if I had an airplane, I still couldn't make it on time. But it takes me so long just to figure out what I'm gonna wear. Blame it on the train, but the bus is already there. It's just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day. And I don't have to run day. It's just another manic Monday. Oh, my life's wonder, my love, I have to pay last night to get back. Doesn't matter, I have to be the both of us and bore myself. He tells me in his bedroom voice, come on, honey, let's go make some noise. Time it goes so fast. It's just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day. And I don't have to run day. It's just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day. Just another manic Monday.
Well, Jenny McCarthy has taken up the cause.
That's right. Against all fucking evidence and reason, Wakefield has the support of former Playboy model Jenny McCarthy, who has become the preeminent celebrity spokesperson for the anti-vaccination movement. Jenny said her son Evan became autistic after getting the MMR vaccine in 2005. She also heavily endorses injecting Botox into your face, one of the more potent toxins known to man. So in Jenny world, Botox good, vaccines bad.
Today, I am a mom of a child who had autism, who has a voice that is willing to shake the ground of those responsible until all of our children are safe from harm.
You heard her say, had autism. Jenny says he's well now. She says he took probiotics, threw up and pooped out a bunch of yeast, and now he's fine.
She's been called the face of mothers with autism. And I think that what she does is she gives a voice to the tens of thousands of parents who haven't been listened to.
Boy, Dr. Gordon sure likes Jenny McCarthy. I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact he's her pediatrician. No bullshit. Dr. Gordon's support has helped to legitimize McCarthy's amazing transformation from Playboy model to public health expert. That's given her a platform from which to broadcast her anti-vaccination scare tactics and usher in a new kind of McCarthyism.
There's a lot of people out there that say, well, I'll leave that up to the medical establishment. They know best. They wear the white coat. They've been to school. They have a diploma on their wall. They have a license to do this. Well, I have a license to drive, right? I have a license to get married. I have a license to do all kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean that I'm an expert at it.
We are so grateful we're not married to you and riding in your car. Hang on, Teller. I've got this one. They want crazy talk? Oh, I can give them crazy talk. The fucking feds want Gitmo going strong in wars overseas for oil money and bailouts, so Obama's going to keep grabbing federal power, even more so than George W. Bush. It's also clear from George Clooney that liberalism gets more virulent with every generation, so the Freemasons need to draft all the liberals in the Peace Corps so they can preach their Stalinist lies. Crazy enough for you? Oh, no, I'm not done. What about the fucking news? You gotta follow the money. Soon vaccines will be able to turn water into gasoline. It's all on the internet. Follow the money. Okay, Dr. Gordon, just so we're clear, you're perfectly fine with Jenny McCarthy scaring people off from vaccines, even though you know that not vaccinating children is just inviting new epidemics that could make any of us sick or dead.
I have a lot of families in my practice who have either given no vaccines to their children or almost no vaccines, and I support that decision. And I take responsibility for supporting that decision. And I don't think that we're adversely affecting the health of the American public.
Nobody can do it like Bob can. That's a strong statement, but one that's believable. And the best evidence of that is your dedication to QSC&V. Quality, service, cleanliness, and Bob. Things that have kept people coming back to America's favorite restaurant for almost 25 years. And no one appreciates you more than Bob, founder and senior chairman of the board of Bob's. Here he is with a special message just for you.
As you probably know by now, we've got a new theme. Nobody can do it like McBob's can. Now, we all know that, but we want to let the customers know it too. A friendly smile from you goes a long way. Without you as the liaison between McBob's Corporation and the customer, we're dead. You're one of the most important people in the whole corporation, and nobody appreciates that fact more than Bob. Bless.
Nobody can do it like McBob's can. Nobody's cooking better all across the land.
Bob.
Can. Nobody else makes it shine the way we do. Nobody else is faster serving you. Clean, bright, fast, polite, with smiles that never end. Everybody always knew it. Nobody can do it like me.
Bob.
Can. You're the reason we do it. Nobody can do it like me.
Bob.
This new song not only reflects everything that Bob stands for, but in the coming months you're going to hear how it reflects the entire spectrum of musical tastes. Like Bob's, there's a little something for everyone. For instance, if you like disco,
Nobody. Nobody. Nobody can do it like me.
Bob. Bob.
Nobody, no, nobody else in this whole land. Nobody else. Nobody can do it like me.
Bob.
Everybody always knew it. Nobody can do it like me.
Bob.
Nobody, no, nobody, 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 nobody,
if that made your feet start to dance, then keep 'em loose, because here's our new campaign rhythm and blues version.
Nobody can do it like Mac
Bob.
can. Nobody's cooking for you like Mac
Bob.
can. Nobody can do it like Mac
Bob.
can. You're the reason why we do it. Nobody can do it like Mac
Bob.
can. Ooh, nobody. Ooh, nobody. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner is right on time to try. Top quality, variety that's always close by. Nobody can do it like Mac.
Bob.
Ooh, you're the reason we do it. Nobody can do it like Mac
Bob.
can. Nobody.
And let's not forget the children who make up such a large part of
Bob's
family. With this version, all the Bob Land characters join in the singing.
Nobody can do it quite like
Bob.
can.
Nobody else spreads laughter through the land, you know.
He makes it fun, he's always got a joke in hand.
He's Nobody can do it quite like
Bob.
and nobody else has a sunnier smile. Nobody else has a funnier style.
Come on along, see what he has planned.
Bob.
Nobody can do it quite like
Bob.
can.
Nobody can do it quite like
Bob.
can. Nobody else makes eating quite so grand. Hamburgers, fries, and shakes. Give him a hand. He's funny. We do it. Nobody can do it quite like
Bob.
So now you know. A new song and advertising campaign are on the way. And we wouldn't be doing it with such confidence if it hadn't been for you.
Bob.
We're glad you take responsibility, and we hope you get everything you have coming to you.
And who are you?
Jacob.
Jacob who? When you're looking for information about autism, as I always tell the families who come to my office that they need to become informed consumers.
Even Carl's on board with that.
all I want people to do is to do the research. And no, I'm not some fanatical, crazy nut, hardcore down the line. If you want to vaccinate your kids, fine, but just do the research yourself.
Well, we are fanatical crazy nuts and hardcore down the line, and we are doing the research and coming up with exactly the opposite conclusion. How about you, Wendy? Are you willing to learn the truth about vaccinations?
Engage me. Help me. Help me learn the better way. Make me wrong, please.
If only you meant that.
I would hope that this thing ends, because it's a terrible distraction. There's no reason to be afraid of vaccinating your child. Listen to your pediatrician. He has the knowledge and training, but don't listen to, Jenny McCarthy.
Sure, we've got facts, but what our side needs is a Playboy model and the parent of an autistic child. Natasha?
A dozen large, well-structured studies in America and Europe show no link between autism and vaccines.
Thank you, Natasha. And now, here's bullshit writer Michael Godot and his autistic son, Joey.
That's right, Natasha. Eyes forward, son.
Just do the research yourself. And know, when that kid grows up one day, you might have to answer to that adult. And why did you do this to me, Mommy? Why did you do this to me, Daddy? Why didn't you read the insert? Were you too lazy? Were you too busy texting someone? Were you too busy on your iPhone talking or watching a movie while nurses are sticking needles in my legs? What were you doing during that time? Why didn't you read the insert? It's right there. They give you the insert. They give you the information. The problem is, it's in like 10 pages, and it's all this in tiny little fine print. You ever seen the insert to one of those things? You can't hardly read it. And what is a 17, 18, 19-year-old single mom going to do? She's in there with a bunch of sick kids. She's in there for her regular schedule. It could be a clinic, Medicaid, Medicare. They require this stuff. The public school requires these things. And I have a feeling that eventually homeschools are going to come around and knock. Have your kids been back?
Hey, Kanye West, how about this? Jenny McCarthy doesn't care about poor people. Poor little cute babies. What's next is the belief that putting a kid with measles and whooping cough into the hospital will expose them to atheist science drug company cooties, which is probably true, but so they're gonna let their kids die at home. When kids of yuppie parents start dying after they've collected their cash settlements ka-ching, maybe they'll start to realize that bullshit isn't going to raise their dead from their graves. Or maybe bullshit will be the next yuppie medicine. They're worse than parents who exorcise demons out of their kids. And hey, folks, maybe I should say this before I forget to tell you, but happy Thanksgiving.